Rachel, and today I'm ranking European countries. Why? Because I just felt like it. This is going to be one of the most subjective videos I've ever made, so feel free to share your opinion as well. Some reasons for the rankings are going to be serious and some reasons are going to be very silly. And some of the countries I won't even mention because I genuinely have no opinion about them. So let's start off strong with Germany. I lived in Germany for 2 years, so I feel like I have a lot of opinions about it. I know the ups and I know the very big downs, like bureaucracy and the fact that they're known for being punctual, but somehow their trains are not. You probably know Germany for their beer, for their sausages, and for the wars. So I'll give this country a C. Next up on our list we have France. A very romanticized country, or maybe over-romanticized. You have the croissants, you have the macarons, you have the French language. You have Paris. France is very big, maybe very patriotic. That's why they want other people to speak French. But, you know, I still like France. So for me, France is a solid B. Sweden. I feel like Sweden knows how to market itself. You only hear good things from Sweden. IKEA, H&M, Spotify, ABBA, meatballs. The language is also quite easy to learn if you want to live there, but it is quite cold, so I'm not going to put it in S tier. I'm going to give it an A. I have some controversial opinions about Switzerland, or maybe they're not that controversial, but it's expensive. If you are European and you want to visit Switzerland, your phone plan is going to be off the charts for no goddamn reason. And yeah, if you live there, you have a better salary. But also I know that taxes take a lot of your money. Switzerland is very well maintained, but it's so well maintained that it's kind of boring to be there in a way. I feel like a lot of cities lost its charm because it's just so clean. I feel like it's a weird complaint, but it is true. They do have very beautiful mountains. It's a very beautiful country. Last but not least, I think Switzerland thinks it's too cool to join any kind of group. Why? Make some friends, I don't know. So I'm giving it a D. Netherlands. I lived in Netherlands for 5 years, so I also have quite some opinions about that country. I mean, I love the tulips, I love the bikes, I love the architecture, but the housing crisis kind of sucks. I mean, I think there's a housing crisis like almost everywhere in the world, but I think in the Netherlands it's quite bad because they have issues building new houses, and even Dutch people are just struggling to find something for a reasonable price. And also it doesn't help that every time I make a video about the Netherlands, people in the comment section, Dutch people in the comment section, always are like, don't come to this country, it's full, we don't want anybody here. And I'm like, okay, yikes. I kind of get it, but also seems a little bit mean. So for these reasons, from an A, it drops down to a B. Luxembourg. I mean, you do have Lux in the name. Another expensive country, another confusing country. It's like so small, and that's kind of it. It's small and rich. They also have 3 languages, French, German, and Luxembourgish. I feel like they just made that up. And the city center of Luxembourg kind of feels like a city, but it also kind of feels like a village because it's so small. So if you're into that kind of vibe, that's cool. But for me, it just felt a bit off. I don't know. But they do have free public transport, so that's kind of cool. And I'll still give it a D though. Next up, Spain. Spain. I mean, aesthetic-wise, probably pretty cool. I've been there when I was a child. I don't remember much about it. But for me, it's kind of too warm. I'm not really a warm country kind of person. I prefer when it's a bit colder, not too cold. You would think if you studied Spanish, living in Spain would be a breeze. But they also have another language called Catalonian, which is not similar to Spanish. Which is like, why do you make your life so hard? I mean, why? I mean, because of history and culture, but... So, I'm gonna give Spain a C. Next up, Italy. Let's see, what do I have in my notes? Where is Italy? I mean, we have the pizza, we have the pasta, we have the Roman Empire, and the country looks like a boot. I mean, they really knew what they were doing with that. Like, I think it is one of the most cool looking countries there is in the world, based on the shape. And also it's easy to make fun of. I think they imprinted their cultural presence into the world pretty well. And Emily's in Rome now. Makes me kind of want to visit Rome. But I'll give this country a B. The first thing when I think of Greece is very white and also a lot of stray cats. At least that's what I see on TikTok. I like their flag. I also know their economy is probably not doing that great. They have great food, I mean Mediterranean food. That's kind of where it is. And from what I've heard of, they're overworked, so that's a bit sad. I would say I give this one a C. Latvia. If you didn't know, I am from Latvia, and you would think I would be biased and put my country way high up. Well, well, well. I have a lot of thoughts about Latvia. Don't get me wrong, I'm grateful for where I grew up. I think we have a beautiful capital. We have lots of trees, and we're near the Baltic Sea, so there's a lot of things to like about this country. But living here is not that fun. Ever since the inflation happened, Latvia was hit by that the worst. I compared German grocery stores to Latvian grocery stores, and shockingly, it's the same or even more expensive in Latvia than it is in Germany. And the problem is, we don't have German salaries, so what is going on? Plus, the Latvian food is nominated to be one of the most boring cuisines in Europe. Which I don't blame them. I mean, look at this dessert. It's called bread soup. It's made out of rye bread, whipped cream, and dried fruit. Does it sound appetizing? Does it look appetizing? Not really. Do I like it? Yeah, I do. If you come around, you should give it a try. But that kind of tells you something about this country. So overall, I have to give Latvia a D. So since we're talking about Latvia, we need to talk about all the other Baltic countries. So next up, we have Estonia. Or should I say Estonia, because they have a lot of things very simplified and digitalized, which is pretty cool. However, I recently learned that grocery prices are like 20% more expensive than in Latvia, which is like mind-blowing. Because how more expensive can you get? And Finland used to visit Estonia to buy liquor from them because it's way cheaper. And they stopped doing that because it got too expensive. Or, well, it got the same, so there was no reason to do that anymore. So that tells you what's going on in that economy. But I do like their flag. I think this one is my favorite flag from Baltic countries. It's kind of simple and gets the point across. I don't know. So I'll give this a solid C. Lithuania. Lithuania. Gets confused with Latvia a lot, which I understand. We are very small countries. Like, who even knows about us? We didn't even do anything like that impactful. So I get why we get confused. Is it annoying still? Yes, a little bit, but it's okay. They have this pink soup. I actually thought it's a Latvian thing, so I'm also kind of pissed off about that. But the pink soup is pretty cool. Probably not gonna be your cup of tea if you don't know what it is made out of, but it's pink and I like it, so a B. Also because I think it's doing the best out of the 3 Baltic countries, but I think we're all doing kind of bad, so yeah, moving on. Austria. The flag gets confused with the Latvian flag a lot. I mean, I don't confuse it because I know the difference. A lot of people do confuse it, and I don't like that. They speak German, but it's not really German. If you know Hochdeutsch, you probably won't understand what they're talking about. Vienna is a beautiful city, but it is a little bit kind of too shiny, like it kind of hurts to walk there. And I'm not the only one who thought that when I was there. I saw a TikTok about a guy talking about it, and I was like, huh, I thought it was just me, but actually, I think a lot of people think it's too shiny. So, mainly because of the flag and the fact that Vienna is kind of shiny, I'll give it a D. Next up, Romania. I feel like I don't know much about Romania. The only thing I know is that I have a friend from Romania, and that they came up with Dracula. That's kind of cool. So, a C. A C it is. Vatican City. I feel like this country can go either way. It could be an S tier or it could be an F tier, because it's so small and so not necessary, and yet it still exists. How are you called a country when you have city in the name? I rest my case. It's an F. Okay, Portugal. Portugal is on my bucket list, but I still cannot manage to visit that country. It's always a little bit too far. Every time I see pictures of Portugal, they're like oversaturated for like no reason. So maybe I'm overhyping this country, most likely, but I do want to visit that castle, that very fun looking castle, because I saw PewDiePie visiting it. And ever since he did that, I had Portugal on my bucket list. So they also have great pastries, and I do kind of like how Portuguese sounds. It's kind of interesting. So this country is getting a B. Or maybe, based on what I know, I would give it an A. But also I know they're having issues, like any other country, so I'm gonna give it a B. Denmark. When I visited Denmark, I had such a great time. It was sunny, it was in summer, so no rain in sight. I know it rains a lot there. But it was sunny, the buildings were very beautiful, the design was very inspiring. I was in Copenhagen also, so I feel like it's a very vibrant city, lively city, everybody looks so cool and stylish. For a Scandinavian country, it's not too far from the rest of Europe. That's also pretty cool. And also bikes, they love bikes. So based on what I told you, I would give this country an A. Bosnia and Herzegovina. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. But also, why do you have two words in the name? I know history happened and whatever. Probably it was two separate countries or two separate cities and they came together and then they had to combine it and also add an and in there. If you have an and in your country name, I feel like you're just doing too much. So, a D. There's nothing else I know about this country. I'm kind of hardcore judging the name. Finland. I visited Finland like a couple of days ago. Not gonna lie, was expecting a little bit more. I was in Helsinki, not the whole Finland. So overall, why do they have a Scandinavian looking flag, but they're not part of Scandinavia? But I think Finland in general has an interesting reputation. For example, the fact that it doesn't exist, kind of funny. Does it exist? Did I visit Finland? I don't really know. Santa Claus also lives there, so that's a thing. And the language is like one of the most difficult European languages you can learn. So that's kind of fun. I don't know why they decided on that, but that is what it is. So overall, I'll give this country a B. Belgium. Belgium. Made fun of by the French and also made fun of by the Dutch. Belgium, I feel like, can never win, but they do win with their waffles. The Belgian waffles, so good. And I think they also have fries, question mark. So if they invented fries, that's also a pretty solid invention. Yeah, the whole country is divided into two sections, kind of. One of them is doing better than the other, or so I've heard. I visited Brussels. I did not like Brussels. I visited Antwerp. I really liked Antwerp. So I'm giving this a C. UK. I feel like we all know UK. I feel like we probably had a crush on someone who had a British accent. UK has an interesting history overall, an interesting culture, like beans on toast. We also had the surge of UK YouTubers. That was an interesting time. I mean, UK knows what it's doing, I think. They also have Brexit, and I think they're still unsure what they really want to do with that. Yeah, I'll give it a D. I feel like a D just makes sense, you know? Ukraine. Not gonna lie, I don't really know much about Ukraine, except for the big thing that's happening to them right now, which is very sad. I do know that borscht comes from Ukraine, and who doesn't love Verka Serduchka? So I'm giving this a B. A polite B. Liechtenstein. Oh ho ho, Liechtenstein. I visited Liechtenstein. It was one of the most disappointing countries to visit. I accidentally confused Liechtenstein with Luxembourg. So I had high expectations, or at least a little bit higher than you should have for this country. Because this country, or is it even a country? The whole city center was like a road with 3 overpriced restaurants, souvenir stores where you can buy Swiss souvenirs, and the whole country is kind of surrounded by mountains from other countries. So basically what I'm saying, there's nothing to see, and it's almost so bad that it's kind of funny. But honestly, it's just bad and overpriced for no goddamn reason. So Liechtenstein gets a solid F, because why does this country exist? There's reasons, but I don't fully know them. Poland. I'm going to Poland. I'm very excited. I feel like Poland kind of is getting better, climbing the reputation ladder, climbing their economy state. Yeah, they have a lot of good food. They have many cool cities like Krakow, Warsaw, Gdańsk. And for some reason I keep getting TikToks of Polish men discovering animals. So, I'm rating this a B. Honestly, based on what I know right now, I could also give it an A, but I'm not too sure. I guess I'll see after I visit the country. So, Slovakia. I lived in Slovakia 6 months, specifically in Bratislava. Was cute, was fun. I was kind of lonely there. The country is kind of surrounded by other countries that are more interesting to visit, so I think it's not really a tourist destination, but you know, it's cute, does the job. I'm giving this a B. Malta. Well, as I said before, I'm not really a heat, warmth type of person. I like when the weather is warm, but like not too warm. So this country is located where it gets pretty hot. It's also an island, country, so very confusing for me. I visited Malta a year ago, and I'm gonna be fully honest, I was a little bit saddened by the fact that there's so many abandoned houses. I feel like Malta has very unique architecture, but I think some parts of the city is kind of just not really well maintained for probably many reasons. And it's a bit sad to see it kind of not in its best shape. But they do also have blue lagoons, so that's kind of cool. And the flag is a bit weird. I mean, I like the division of the white and red, but the cross is gray. Why did you choose gray? So I'm giving Malta a D. I'm sorry, Malta. I do believe in you though. You can get better. Hungry. Well, as a dyslexic person, this is confusing. You cannot write hungry and pronounce it like this, I think, and not expect me to make a mistake. They have goulash though. Goulash, I think one of my top favorite dishes. Yum, yum, yum. And also Budapest, or Budapest, cool city. Vibes, a lot of vibes. Yeah, so it's a B. Iceland. Okay, Iceland is like almost not even part of Europe. So they're doing their own thing. They know what they're doing, or I think they do. It's an interesting decision to live in Iceland. I mean, I think a lot of people that go and live in Iceland, they don't stay longer than 3 years because it can get really depressing and dark. And so it's a small island, and it also has a lot of volcanoes. It's super windy and rainy. So I don't know why would you live there, technically, theoretically, but people do. And you know, I respect that. And they also have bread that they make in the ground with steam. They just got really creative there. I would say so. So I'll give Iceland an A. They're just doing their own thing there. Isles of Men, or Man. Isles of Man. I mean, what about the rest of 50% of the population? Such a weird name. I discovered this country because I was playing GeoGuessr, and then I was like, what is this? What is this flag with 3 legs? And then it revealed where it is, and I was like, oh. So based basically on this name alone, I was considering giving it an F, but I guess I'll give it a D because I still give it the benefit of the doubt, but I'm not too sure about that. Ireland. I feel like Ireland has a strong branding. The greenery, the pot of gold, the leprechauns, the rainbow, the guys wearing skirts. I think that should be a thing. Why are they the only ones that kind of thought of that in Europe? I would give this a B. Bulgaria. Again, I think I don't really know much about Bulgaria. The only thing that I do know is that when you want to say yes, you do your head like this. And when you want to say no, you do your head like this, which is super confusing for the rest of the continent. I mean, why would you just go against the grain? Maybe they're rebels, or maybe they want to confuse people. So, a C. This is my final ranking. I feel like this ranking tells you about me more than about Europe in general. So my top 3 is Sweden, Denmark, and Iceland. As you can see, there's an S tier. And nobody belongs there because countries have their problems too. I mean, I was considering not putting any country in F as well, but the Vatican City and Liechtenstein kind of do belong there. I'm sorry. And the rest is just kind of all over the place. I mean, as I said, some of the reasonings were silly and some of them were a bit more serious. So can you really rank a country? I don't think so, but I did. So let me know if you agree. Let me know if you disagree. It was fun. Happy to have you here. I hope I'll see you next time, and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.